Dear reader, my name is Tony and this is Booktext. This is my new channel, my new Booktube channel. I've been watching for several years, but I finally decided to start contributing to Booktube. And today I'm going to do the Booktube Newbie Tag. This tag was started by Brenda C. And I'm just going to go through the questions and answer them as we go. If you have other questions for me, by the way, please leave them in the comments and I will answer. So, first question, why did you start this channel? For fun, but also kind of to challenge myself. I've been working on my time management and I'm trying to replace bad time management habits like watching a lot of silly YouTube, kind of browsing through social media. I've been trying to replace that with creative things, and I thought this is one avenue of creation that I would really enjoy, talking about all the books that I read. I read a lot anyway, I might as well challenge myself to start talking about them more. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? Wordplay. I love language. I love playing with language. I plan to highlight a new word in every video as kind of a fun nod to the joys of linguistics. And the word today is going to be swellegant. It is an older slang. You might kind of imagine it would come from the early 20th century, kind of 1920s slang for something that was both swell and elegant. So you might say, oh, what a swellegant party Gatsby has been holding. Well, that's my cat is walking across the table. He apparently he's a little hefty. He might show up in some of the videos too. Okay, what are you most excited for about this new channel? This is so nerdy, but I love writing curriculum. I am a teacher. I teach at a local university. I teach writing, technical writing specifically. But the thing I enjoy the most about teaching is the teaching. It's not the writing per se. It's not the administrative things. It's the curriculum, coming up with content to talk about, discussion questions. I love that, and I can see myself applying that to kind of writing booktube content and discussion questions that we can talk about online. Why do you love reading? That's a good question. I love learning, and I learn a lot when I read, and it's a really inexpensive way to get an education, is just to read. I find books all the time for $1 or less, and so I can educate myself really, really inexpensively. I think it's also good to escape sometimes, or to imagine greater possibilities. I have a note here to myself that compassion and empathy are really important to me, and I think we can learn a lot of compassion and empathy by imagining the characters' experiences as our own. What book or series got you into reading? Well, I got hooked on reading really young, but I think some transformative books for me include Jerry Spinelli's Maniac McGee. And there was a sentence in it that I've never forgotten, which was that, so somebody stopped in the middle of a sidewalk and people moved around him like water around a rock in a stream. And I just thought that was beautiful. Like, language can do so much for us to describe things. I love that. But I also, it's kind of embarrassing, I also was really hooked on the Joanne Campbell's Thoroughbred books. And they're quite cheesy, they're quite formulaic, but I loved them, and they got me into writing and reading, so they will always have a special place on my bookshelves. And I can show you my bookshelf if you're interested, my bookshelf specifically of my horse books from my youth. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? How do you talk about a book without giving away spoilers? I would love some hints on that. And what do you film during reading slumps? And how do you deal with FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, or responding to native comments. Next question. What challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Oh, the learning curve for editing. I know a bit about editing. I actually do videos for my nieces and nephews every week because they live really far away from me and I miss them and I want them to know who I am so that when I come to visit, they're not afraid of me as a stranger. So I know a little bit about editing, but I think I'm gonna encounter a learning curve on Booktube. But also the time commitment and filming regularly. As a university teacher, like there's a lot. I have 100 students, and so every time they turn in a paper, I have 100 papers to read and grade, and so I'm a little bit worried about falling behind. But I would like to post at least one video a week. Next question, when did you start reading? I think that means like were you really addicted to books? I started reading young. I think I was 3, and my mom found me with an old biology textbook of hers, trying to sound out the words. And I have not stopped reading since. I actually have worn down my eyesight. I'm quite legally blind without my glasses and contacts, and so I read a lot. But because I had my eye on being a writer and an English major, I really enjoyed the books I read in school. Oh, I love that. Maniac McGee, one of those transformative books I mentioned earlier, was a book assignment at school. So I've always enjoyed reading. Where do you read? Oh, anywhere I can. Mostly right here on this love seat in my living room. It's beautiful lighting. It's quiet. There's quite comfy, right? Sometimes I listen to audiobooks during my commute to work, or if I'm taking the train somewhere, I will listen to an audiobook on the train as well. Last question, what kinds of books do you like to read? I go through genre waves, and right now I'm riding the waves of mystery and early 20th century women writers. I want to become an expert on that and maybe have some videos to put out. And short stories. I think those are my current genre waves, but I've also enjoyed fantasy, science fiction, horror. I do read a fair amount of nonfiction. Mostly kind of self-help, time management, business management, education management kind of books. I'm applying to more graduate school at the end of this year, and so I'm kind of preparing by reading some education books. And that's the last question. So that's a little bit about me. I would like to know from you, are you new to Booktube as well? And what books do you like to read? Do you like to read similar books to me? So again, if this tag was by Brenda C. If you are new to Booktube, consider yourself tagged. And remember, there's always another book.